Hi, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to show the steps that I did to create this storage drawer for our newly purchased Ninja air fryer. It's just basic box construction with a drawer. So I'll be cutting the first pieces for the top and bottom out of Baltic birch. First measurement is at 16. That will be the depth. And then the next cut I'll do at 19 for the width. The next cut will be for the sides, and I think I'll do about 5 inches there. For the assembly, I'm not too worried about strength, so I'm just going to assemble it with some glue and some brad nails. That should do just fine. Start with the glue here. So that should keep everything square while the glue sets. So now we'll just let this glue set. Later we'll be filling the holes, and then not going to bother with the back. So the next step after that will be making the drawer. So for the drawer, I think I'm just going to make it inset. So I'll need a front about the size of the opening, which is 18 by 5. So we'll cut that piece out of some maple now. So 18 by 5. So here's a piece of maple, cut the size to fit in here. So now I can make the drawer. It'll be 14 inches deep. So because that's going in and using drawer slides, it will have to make it go in a little bit, account for a ½ inch on each side for the drawer slides, which I'll be using some soft close drawer slides here. And I just have some scrap pieces that hopefully I could use. So this will be going something like that. And like I said, in for the drawer slide, 14 inches deep this way, and then cut the other piece for the back after. So let's cut the sides first at 14 inches. So before touching the sides, I'll have to just make a groove into the back of the front drawer piece in order to slide in the drawer bottom. So I won't want to go to the end, so I'll use a router table. So don't want to go much past, like I say, have the drawer right around there. Center that, I guess. So basically, I don't know, about 5/8 from the bottom and in about 3/4. So I'll just have to go like that across. So I have to try to carefully do that without going past the edge so I don't see the groove on the outside here. So I'll set up the router table to do the groove on here using a router bit, and that should do it there. So I'll get started with that now. Here's the groove cut out for the bottom panel using the router. So the panel go in there after we just attach the two sides, and then I can measure for the panel and then put the back on for the drawer. So using a piece of scrap, same thickness as what the bottom would be using that as a guide to line that up. And then a block of wood I'll clamp to get the thickness of the drawer slide, get that in there roughly. And then I'll clamp that block down. Just make sure everything's the way I want it. I think that looks pretty good. Clamp this tight. And then we can put in the pocket hole screws. Okay, so there I'll do the same for the other side, and then I can measure for the dimensions of the drawer bottom. Now from some 3/4 inch scrap plywood, I'll cut the piece for the back, and I'll just measure from the front part here. So it should be exactly the same. And that piece will go here. So I'll cut that now. So here's the cut piece of 3/4 inch plywood I'm going to put in the back. So that'll go like that. But before putting it on, I just need to cut the groove for the panel. So we'll do that now on the router. And then I'll have to cut out a bottom piece, which will be about 16.5. by maybe 14.25. Drawer bottom panel's been installed. I'm just using a clamp to hold this in place while I put pocket screws in. Do one side at a time. There's one side done, and I'll do the same for the other side. So here's the drawer that will fit into here once everything's complete. I use plywood for the box here, so in order to hide the plywood, I just did cut some thin strips of maple, which I'm just going to apply on the front just so it looks a little bit nicer. Nothing fancy, just going to do the edges and then trim it and give a little bit nicer front than just the plywood edges. So I'll cut these pieces to size now. So I'll just add some glue to the edge. Too much, I think. Really don't want it leaking out so much. Add the pieces that I cut. I'll try to make it even on the insides, and then the outside I could just trim it after. And just going to try it with a pin nailer. Now for the two small pieces on the sides. So now I'll just let the glue set and then trim the edges, fill in the holes, and then we'll be ready for the staining. So now I'll just sand the wood filler. So now after sanding, I'm going to trim the edges of the little bit of facing that I put on. I'm going to use a trim bit with the router. You could use anything you want. You could just sand it, but I'll use the router. I'll just probably lightly sand it just to make it a bit smoother. And the next step now will be to do the stain. Now I'll start with staining. I'm just using some of this dark stain I used on a previous project that I have on hand, Men Wax, as a clear tint base, and then some kind of brown, I can't remember exact color, but this is what I'm going to use for this project. So I'll start with the drawer front. I think I might just leave it more opaque without wiping. So we'll let the drawer front dry. Now I'll continue with the box. Here it is all stained up. Again, this is an opaque stain. I might give it a second coat just to give it to cover it completely. We'll see after it dries. I'm outside now. I'm going to apply the poly with the Cricut sprayer, just so I could get inside a little bit easier. So I'll get started with the first coat, probably do 3 coats to finish it all. So now I'm going to install the drawer slides using these 14-inch drawer slides. It's going to be an inset drawer, so I'm just going to have to put it in the thickness of the front, which is a piece about this thick here. So we'll use that as a guide. And then I'm just using a piece of wood so I can make sure both sides are identical. So let's do the first one. So just put one screw to start right here. The screws that came with the slides look a little bit long, but I have others that I've previously bought are a little bit shorter because I'm just using 1/2-inch stock. Not a lot of space here, but okay, so it just moved a little bit. I'll just adjust it. So I'll do the same for the other side, and then we can install a drawer. So now before installing the drawer, just going to add these little rubber feet at the bottom. Just install 4, roughly, I guess, 1 inch from the corners. Just eyeball it sort of with this little piece. Bought these on Amazon, and they do come with the screws. So here are the 4 feet applied. Now the next step is the drawer. So before installing the drawer, I'm going to add the drawer pull. This one, I think it's, okay, 5 inches. So I have to go 2.5-inch centers. Set up the jig. Two and a half. Looks good. And the drawer front is 5 inches. So I'll have this set to 2.5. And just sort of center it based on the edges here easily. And we'll just mark the holes. Then I'll drill the holes for the bolts. Perfect size. It looks like these are just slightly too short, so I'll have to go and find some longer ones. Just found some slightly longer. Hopefully that's enough. So here's the drawer pull install. So now we'll install the drawer. Since it's insert, I'm just going to make little shims to make it even, so when I install it, it'll fit nice and evenly on all sides. Now for the drawer installation, I'm just going to use some of these handy shims, which are 1/16 inch thick each. And hopefully this will work. Worst case will be I'll have to trim these and restain and finish again. I might have made this a little bit too tight for this kind of installation, but let's just see. So I'll put one screw on each side to start. Same on this side. And I could pull out the drawer and do other screws. Try to get this nice and straight. And just try to get the drawer slide nice and square. Same thing on the other side. Let's test out the fit. Okay, so it fits not too bad on the sides, but I think I'm just going to want to trim the top just so it goes in. So anybody making something similar, I guess make the drawer front small enough so you don't have to be so accurate. So I'll trim the top to give me more space so that it goes in nicely. Of course, if I'd have done on the outside, it would have been a lot easier. So let me just cut that a little bit. I have to take the drawer handle off and trim some off. So now after trimming the front, I also decided to just take a little bit off the sides. The drawer now goes in there nicely. So now I just have to apply the stain on these cut edges and some poly, and then put the handle back on, and then this project will be done. Here's the completed drawer cabinet, which I made specifically for this newly purchased Ninja air fryer, mainly to store the extra pieces. I think this project turned out okay for the application. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope to see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. Bye.